Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Dimbert in for Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Happy first night of Kwanzaa on this wintry Friday night for those who are celebrating. We begin with that major snowstorm bearing down on the East Coast as millions are set to return home or head out of town to ring in the new year. States of emergency have now been declared in New York and New Jersey. Looking right now out over New York City, the weather causing major travel issues. This flight from Chicago was forced to land in snowy conditions in Rochester, New York. Thousands of flights have been canceled or delayed in the Northeast. Lake effect snow is also creating scenes like this in upstate New York. Ice has already coated trees, cars, and roads in central Michigan. Tens of thousands are without power there tonight. And California is bracing for even more rain after a catastrophic and deadly storm. Communities in San Bernardino and Los Angeles County overwhelmed by flooding, mud, and debris after days of record-setting rain. Lee Goldberg is standing by with that all-important forecast. But first, Faith Abube leads us off tonight from New York City.
Tonight, whiteout conditions moving into the Northeast as millions head home from Christmas and millions more head out for the new year.
Make sure you have good tires.
Up to a foot of snow forecast for parts of New York. The state summoning some 1,600 plow and salt trucks. New York and New Jersey declaring states of emergency. Thousands of flights canceled or delayed on one of the busiest days to fly, and more already scrapped for tomorrow. In the West, relentless rain from an atmospheric river washing away cars and roads.
Oh my God.
LA County Fire says they rescued more than 100 people from flooded vehicles on Christmas Day alone. North of Los Angeles, mudslides encasing cars and homes in rocky debris. Families in Wrightwood left to pick up the pieces. KABC reporter Liz Nagy in nearby hard-hit Lytle Creek.
From this Lytle Creek neighborhood, there's now no way out except on foot. This bridge buckled under the intensity of raging floodwaters. Day 3 of relentless pouring rain here in Southern California.
And in the mountains, up to 5 feet of snow. Interstate 80 over Donna Pass shut down in both directions Thursday. At the Mammoth Mountain ski area today, authorities say 2 ski patrol members were injured during avalanche mitigation in the area.
And Andrew, here in New York City, we could see snowfall rates up to 2 inches an hour. There's also another system that is set to impact the Northeast on Sunday. Andrew.
Faith, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our New York station WABC. Lee, you're tracking these powerful storms. How's it looking out there?
Well, we're getting the ground truth now in New York City as the flakes have begun. It's only going to get heavier through the overnight hours, expecting around 7 or 8 inches in New York City, maybe some double-digit totals not too far away off to the north. Look at the winter weather alerts across the Northeast. It's winter storm warnings from central New York to Albany, western New England, down into the New York area, especially from New York City north and east. And then all of the advisories off to the south and west, lighter snow totals, but heavier ice totals. Look at the ice storm warnings east of Pittsburgh, and that includes Erie, Pennsylvania. Let's look at the radar and some of the heaviest snow, again, from central and eastern New York down into the New York City area and western New England. There'll be lighter snows in Boston and lighter snows in Philly because of the mixing. But look at the dangerous ice storm along I-80 in parts of Pennsylvania. Let's time this. The heaviest snow, that's going to be this evening into the overnight hours. It is a quick hitter, but because we're snowing at 1 to 2 inches an hour, the snow will really stack up again, especially north and east of New York City. Lighter snows by tomorrow morning. In terms of amounts, the double-digit amounts will go from Syracuse over to Albany, down to the Hudson Valley of New York. New York City's going to be close, maybe more like an 8-inch storm. In parts of central New Jersey, less, and down toward Philly with some mixing, there'll be less snow, less in Boston to the north, and then out I-80. Look at the dangerous ice storm, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of ice that could bring down tree limbs, potentially cause power outages as well. Looking into the weekend, a storm over the Rockies. Much of the country is dry, but as that cross-country storm starts to move into the Ohio Valley on Sunday, got some pretty heavy rainfall going on. Chicago over to Cleveland, back down to Oklahoma City. It moves into the northeast by later Sunday as rain. The problem is the cold air isn't gone, so could be some icing inland. Good news is this is out of the way, likely dry by New Year's Eve right here in Times Square. That's the way the forecast is shaping up. Andrew?
All right, Lee, get yourself inside, too. Thanks, Lee. Overseas now to U.S. strikes targeting terrorists in Nigeria on Christmas Day. President Trump says it was to protect Christians in that country, but Nigerian officials say the strikes were aimed at protecting people of all faiths, not just Christians. Here's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, new scenes of the aftermath of the U.S. missile strike in Nigeria on Christmas Day. The Pentagon releasing this video, a U.S. warship firing a Tomahawk cruise missile from the Gulf of Guinea. A U.S. official telling ABC News more than a dozen missiles were launched. In a village targeted by the strikes in northwest Nigeria, residents carrying a piece of metal debris as a fire rages in a field. The next day, locals gathering as police sweep the site of a missile strike. President Trump saying he ordered the strikes against terrorists who, quote, have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. Tonight, the president saying he delayed the strikes for symbolic reasons, telling Politico, quote, they were going to do it earlier and I said, nope, let's give a Christmas present. The Pentagon says multiple ISIS terrorists were killed. U.S. and Nigerian officials confirming they worked together on this operation. Analysts tell ABC News the reality on the ground in Africa's most populous country, home to millions of Christians and Muslims, is complex.
Christians are not the sole target of ISIS in Nigeria. They have been indiscriminate in their violence.
Nigeria's government responding to the strikes overnight, saying terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remains an affront to Nigeria's values and to international peace and security. The Christmas strikes are the second this week. Last Friday, the U.S. carrying out dozens of airstrikes against ISIS in Syria in response to the deadly attack that killed 3 Americans.
Selena joins us now from Florida, where the president is spending the holiday. Selena, in more news related to foreign affairs, the president is expected to meet with Israel's prime minister in Florida.
That's right, Andrew. The president is expected to meet with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the coming days at his Mar-a-Lago club. And the agenda, Andrew, is expected to be wide-ranging with a focus on how to advance the fragile Israel-Hamas ceasefire into the next phase. Iran's nuclear activities are also expected to be front and center. Andrew?
Selena, thank you. Joining us now, we're fortunate to have ABC News contributor Daryl Blocker. We just saw him in Selena's story. He's the former head of the CIA's clandestine activities in Africa. Daryl, good to see you. Let's jump right in. If ISIS in Nigeria has attacked not just Christians, but Muslim civilians and also government officials, then what is the primary reason for all the fighting in Nigeria?
Well, the primary reason is just like every other country. It has to do with land, resources. There might be some political aspects to it, but mostly it is these groups, these ISIS groups, these terrorist groups, which are exacerbating and making things worse on the ground.
Is there any risk here of the U.S. being dragged into a broader conflict?
I don't think so. The United States, they've been trying to drag us into this fight since Mogadishu and Somalia. Certainly attacking our embassies in Dar es Salaam and Nairobi was also a part of that campaign. So ISIS and Al-Qaeda, they're very, very smart in how they go about doing it. But I don't think we're going to get dragged into a larger campaign because we never left the fight.
Okay, that said, for many years now, the Nigerian government has been unable to control jihadist groups in the country, groups that often kidnap school children for ransom. Can our entering the fray with missiles help the situation there?
I don't think they'll hurt. I do think sending a message is something that needs to be done, but we have to have the intelligence on the ground, which means closing up USAID and pulling ambassadors from some of the regional, including Nigeria, is not going to help the effort.
Now, you've managed covert activities in Africa for the CIA. Is there something the U.S. could be doing or is already doing to reduce civil strife in this oil-rich country?
I think the United States lost a major part of its policy by closing down USAID in mostly on the African continent, and again pulling ambassadors. What you're doing is you're leaving things basically in the hands of the military and intelligence, and we should be the last resort. Diplomacy, development, and then as a last resort, intelligence or military actions as required.
Daryl Blocker, thank you. Ukraine's President Zelenskyy says he's meeting with President Trump on Sunday. That's to finalize a draft of a proposed peace deal with Russia. Zelenskyy says the 20-point plan is 90% complete, but is there any chance Russia would go along with it? ABC's Patrick Reevell joins us now. Patrick?
Hi, Andrew. President Zelensky says he expects to meet with President Trump in Mar-a-Lago on Sunday in another bid to push a peace deal forward. Zelensky telling reporters he and Trump need to discuss the most sensitive elements in the latest draft of a 20-point plan worked out between Ukraine and US negotiators that would include security guarantees for Ukraine. The Ukrainian president upbeat, saying he thinks the plan is 90% ready. But Trump tonight, in an interview with Politico, saying Zelensky, quote, doesn't have anything until I approve it. Now, it comes just days after Zelensky said he is ready to withdraw troops from the areas of Ukraine's eastern Donbass region that it still controls and to make them into demilitarized zones. That is the furthest he has gone towards compromising on a key demand of Vladimir Putin. Zelensky saying a referendum will be needed to approve any concessions, but the problem is so far the Kremlin shows no sign of accepting this new proposal. Today, Russia's deputy foreign minister saying Zelensky's plan is radically different from what Russia has discussed with the US. And Russia over Christmas again pummeling Ukraine, killing 2 today and injuring 8 in Kharkiv. And so despite the positive signals from Kyiv, it is still very hard to see a deal being reached. Andrew.
All right, Patrick, thank you for that update. As the year comes to a close, new data shows the U.S. is on track for the largest one-year decline in murders it has ever recorded. The Real-Time Crime Index, a collection of monthly crime data from law enforcement agencies across the country, shows murders have dropped nearly 20% in the last year, continuing to fall from a pandemic-related peak. The index also shows that motor vehicle thefts, robberies, and burglaries dropped significantly as well. The FBI will release its official crime data for 2025 next year. Now to a Georgia family at the center of a national debate. A pregnant nurse was declared brain dead but was kept on life support for months. Her family saying a state law left them with no input as doctors focused on keeping the fetus alive. Rachel Scott sat down with the woman's mother as questions grow over how Georgia's abortion law is being applied.
Tonight, the heartbreak for the family of a pregnant woman. A young nurse, Adriana Smith, expecting her second child. When her own health suddenly spiraled, she was soon declared dead. I sat down with Adriana's mom, April Newkirk.
When did you start to realize that something was wrong with Adriana?
And I think she was having really bad headaches. Really bad, to the point where that's when she went to the hospital. The CT scan showed that there were blood clots everywhere.
Less than 2 weeks later, doctors told the family that young mother had died.
They declared her brain death February 19th. The fetus at the time had a heartbeat, so they said that they would treat the baby as the patient, and she was no longer the patient because of the law that they have here in Georgia.
Georgia's law, known as the Life Act, went into effect after Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. It bans abortions as early as 6 weeks of pregnancy and deems fetuses living distinct persons. The law only allows narrow exceptions for medical emergencies, rape and incest, and medically futile pregnancies. Though Adriana was brain dead, her death certificate saying February 19th. Her mother says doctors kept her on life support for 16 more weeks in an effort to save her pregnancy. In June, the baby was born premature at around 26 weeks. He's been in the NICU ever since.
He's not your regular premature baby. He's struggling.
In initial statements in May, the hospital, Emory Healthcare, said they make individualized treatment recommendations in compliance with Georgia's abortion laws and all other applicable laws. In a recent statement to ABC News, the hospital said in part, "Some of our patients present with the most complex and difficult situations where there may not be clinical, legal, societal, or legal agreement on the best course." Suzanne Guy opposes abortion rights and lobbied for the Georgia law.
Do you think there should have been an exception in Adriana's case?
Rachel, I don't. That little boy is valuable and deserved to be protected and fought for.
But Adriana's mother says watching her daughter deteriorate for 16 weeks after she was already declared dead is not something any family should have to go through.
I feel like we should have had a choice, but we didn't. I really think it should be a choice. I just do.
Rachel, thank you. ESPN reports that the University of Michigan has hired Kyle Whittingham as the next head coach of its football team. Whittingham is expected to sign a 5-year contract. He had a successful 21-season tenure as the University of Utah's head football coach before stepping down this month. The hiring comes weeks after Michigan fired head coach Sharon Moore for having an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. He was arrested later that day after allegedly confronting the staffer at her home. Michigan plays Texas in the Citrus Bowl on ABC New Year's Eve. Tonight, speculation is growing about the future of 3-time Super Bowl champ Travis Kelce. Kelce appears emotional during the national anthem before last night's loss to the Denver Broncos. His fiancée, Taylor Swift, watched on from the stands as Kelce played what could be his final home game in Kansas City. As he headed into the tunnel, fans erupted into cheers, showering him with adulation that some say felt like a farewell. Kelce has not made an official announcement on his future. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announcing today that she is expecting a baby girl. Leavitt made the announcement over social media with an accompanying picture of her standing in front of a Christmas tree with a baby bump. In the post, Leavitt says the baby is expected in May and that she can't wait for she and her husband to, quote, watch our son become a big brother. Leavitt and her husband, Nicholas Riccio, welcomed their son Nico in July of 2024. And in other baby news, there's a new member of the ABC News Live Prime family. We want to welcome baby Santi, born 7 pounds 3 ounces on Christmas Day, to Prime's executive producer Denise Rarig and her husband Anthony. From the entire Prime team here, congratulations to Mom and Dad. Next, Linsey Davis brings us some insightful stories how Hollywood is already using artificial intelligence in the making of upcoming film and TV projects, including new tech that can create facial expressions that are more human-like than ever before. And coming up, why tourists are traveling from around the world to visit a crash site that's become one of Iceland's must-see spots. And later, a sneak peek at the ABC News Live series Last Lands, or Bob Woodruff travels to a national park in Guatemala, now protected by a small group of park rangers.
You've probably seen them all over social media, deepfakes created with artificial intelligence. But you may not know that these are already being used in Hollywood, even in major projects. The AI boom has come to the entertainment industry, and the tech is being used for far more than just changing faces. ABC's Nathan Russo-Smith gives us an inside look.
So, this is Dorothy, our facial scanning rig.
This vault is one of Hollywood's best-kept secrets. It's not safeguarding money or jewels, but something far more valuable. Digital clones of your favorite actors and entertainers.
3, 2, 1.
This is how the entertainment capital is fighting to preserve, protect, and future-proof in the age of artificial intelligence.
So scrunch your face, yeah.
This endeavor made by the Creative Artists Agency. It's one of the largest and most powerful talent agencies in the country, representing thousands of A-listers in entertainment and sports. Every movement,
anger, like rage. So
3, 2,
and every vocal inflection,
that quick beige fox jumped in the air over each thin dog. Look out, I shout.
Used to create and safely store a digital double the talent owns.
Think of it like a bank. If somebody now owns their digital likeness assets, anyone who chooses to do anything other than work with that individual, now there's a stronger case to show that they're infringing on their rights.
CAA wouldn't say which of its many stars have undergone this 3-hour-long procedure, but claims since the CAA Vault launched in 2023, it's been very popular.
Now somebody can show up in a Call of Duty game or in Fortnite or in any of these sort of platforms.
But hiring the AI replica won't come at a discount. CAA argues the value is in the person.
Tell me about your own love for film and entertainment and where that came from.
Oh my gosh, I grew up watching movies with my mom, old school, Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant, all the old school movies, and really having a fascination with how they were made.
Tucked away in the beachy Venice neighborhood sits Deep Voodoo, an AI company co-created by South Park's Trey Parker and Matt Stone in 2020, when the pair sought to create a deepfake spoof of President Trump.
Hi, kids. I'm
Donald Trump, your president.
They had developed this technology along with an incredible team of people and felt like it was too special not to share.
We did an Apple TV show called Before.
They quickly realized the potential beyond satire, building their own facial scanner for actors. And with that data, they show me how AI can in real time de-age Billy Crystal and Judith Light in the TV series Before.
It's gonna be okay, I promise.
Please open the door.
Releasing his first music video in decades, Billy Joel employed Deep Voodoo's tech, his face de-aged and superimposed.
So the performer, the way that they're acting is just as critically important as your technology.
To be totally honest, it's more important.
To make it believable.
Yeah.
Now, would something like that have been possible without AI before?
The issue that people had with traditional CGI is that it came off a little bit eerie, a little bit, some people call it uncanny, right? This notion that it looks almost right, but there's something that's off about it.
Potentially distracting for the viewer.
Exactly, that's exactly right. And so the AI has been able to bridge the gap, some people call it this uncanny valley, to the point where it looks natural, it looks realistic in a way that people can enjoy what they're watching.
I had to try it for myself. Instantly, I'm able to see what would take hours in the makeup chair. And then there was this.
There's two of you now.
Yeah.
I mean, that is...
My teeth, eyes, face, suddenly someone else's. Deep fakes made even more lifelike and harder to spot. Recently, this AI avatar named Tilly Norwood splashily marketed as a future acting starlet, further heightening unease over job security. It's the fear of a rapid, unrestricted evolution that actors, writers, and creatives picketed over in 2023.
From what you're hearing, are they scared of AI, or is it a little more nuanced?
I think it's a nuance, but we don't want it to be paralyzing fear that stops us from doing things like negotiating guardrails and rules, getting legislators and public policy to circle around this in a way that's protective.
Union SAG-AFTRA recognizes there's no one ringing the AI bell, just as there was no escaping piracy or streaming. The union says it's prepared.
Do you feel like the studios have the actors' best interest at heart with how they're harnessing AI?
I would say I think the companies are generally coming at this with a more careful and deliberate approach than I feared might happen, and that is a good thing.
While an AI avatar like Tilly appears more marketing stunt than serious acting contender, how Deep Voodoo harnesses AI has already changed the landscape of Hollywood.
Is this technology going to kill jobs?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely
Why
not?
not?
Because what this does is it allows stories and projects to happen that wouldn't otherwise happen.
You know, some of the people that we employed, those jobs didn't exist 5 years ago. AI artist jobs didn't exist.
The AI boom reached new heights when earlier this year Google unveiled its generative AI model dubbed VO3.
I can describe what I want to happen next.
Google showed how it can quickly create realistic-looking videos from scratch with just a few sentences. It caught the interest of famed director Darren Aronofsky, who partnered with Google, creating AI production company Primordial Soup and enlisting director Eliza McNitt to helm their first short film titled Ancestra.
We need to go.
Is your husband here? This was supposed to be a checkup.
Crash C-section!
The film tells the story of McNitt's challenging birth.
In distress. What is wrong with my baby?
Born with a hole in her heart.
Why did you decide using AI in this moment would be the time that you would tell this story?
There are things that, I wasn't able to achieve before because I have a very big vision of, creating the cosmos and outer space and having these images that are really difficult to achieve otherwise. And so AI was really integral to the process.
Everything you see here has been created with a special version of VO3. In other words, everything is AI, except for the actors in the hospital room.
I felt it was actually quite unethical to shoot with a newborn baby. We wanted to find a new innovative solution to that felt very realistic. So in the movie, what you're seeing is actually me as a newborn baby.
Rebirth through AI, even for a 100-plus-year-old soundstage, complete with a speakeasy in the basement. It's here, surrounded by filmmaking history, where filmmaker-entrepreneur Bryn Moser and his girlfriend actress Natasha Lyonne created Asteria Film Company, a part of tech company Moon Valley.
Why do you think AI is so disarming for people, especially for creatives?
There's somewhat of this old adage about people say things that are evil, magic, and a tool when a new technology comes out. It's evil to the people that are being disrupted. It's magic to the people who own it. And in the end, it just becomes a tool. And so that's the system that we're seeing right now. I tell filmmakers all the time that it's optional to use AI in your filmmaking, but it's not optional to learn about it. We have to learn about it.
Asteria promotes what could be called a commercially safe AI model, trained to only use licensed materials, so there's no fear of copyright infringement from what it creates.
We've been building a model that just came out called Mary, has all the controls I think that filmmakers were asking for and needs, and certainly what our filmmakers here desired.
They show us how with just a few simple prompts, filmmakers are able to turn this still into a video. A stark contrast from Asteria's mission, users of OpenAI's new Sora video generator initially kicked off its release, flooding social media with fantastical AI video clips of copywritten characters. For now, your favorite actors aren't passing off their on-screen performances to their AI clone. But daring to invent new ways to tell stories is something we've seen since the dawn of cinema.
Take off the glass. You said you're a big fan of Katharine Hepburn.
Yes.
If she could see what you guys are doing here, do you think she would sign up to having like a legacy biopic where her face would be put on another actor?
I would hope so. She was such a pioneer and so ahead of her time, always. And I think we honor their legacy by doing it really beautifully, flawlessly. That's what I would want.
Our thanks to Nathan for that. Up next, a site in Iceland is drawing tourists from around the world. But why are people so anxious now to take a picture here near a decades-old relic? More than 50 years later, a piece of history still sits in Iceland. Tourists travel hours just to take a photo of what's become one of the country's must-see sights. A recent visitor, the man who was in the cockpit when the plane went down, returned to the wreckage for the very first time. ABC's Maggie Rulli was there as he reminisced about that day.
Hidden among the glaciers, lagoons, and fjords of Iceland is an unlikely tourist hotspot. In the land of fire and ice, it's this rotting hunk of metal that's now become a must-visit destination.
It's a plane crash. I highly recommend checking it out if you're in Iceland.
Everybody hold on!
This weathered American military plane has been abandoned on this black sand beach for more than 50 years, since it crashed on the Sólemasander coast in 1973. We traveled to Iceland, making the hours-long journey.
This landscape's incredible. You do feel like you're just on an entirely different planet.
To find out why this U.S. Navy plane ended up here and what happened to those on board. Decades on, the mystery and beauty of this crash has now taken on a life of its own. It was first featured in Icelandic rock band Sigur Ros's visual album Heima. Then in the Bollywood film Diwali.
Forget that I'm real.
And when Justin Bieber skateboarded across the top of it in his I'll Show You music video, the landmark's popularity skyrocketed and cemented its place in pop culture.
We actually, in tourism in Iceland, we call this the Justin Bieber effect. When something happens that kind of blows up a new place or a new destination or some point of interest that wasn't very interesting before.
The eerie terrain inspiring some to even take Star Trek-inspired photos on location.
It's incredible to be standing here knowing that hundreds of people make the trek here every day to this plane crash in the middle of miles and miles of barren, remote landscape.
Like every single person I've heard has talked about this plane wreck.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it about a plane wreck on the beach that feels so alluring?
It's just that picture of that plane there sitting here for so many years and enduring.
thousands of miles away in Memphis.
We've just finished packing for our Iceland adventure.
Greg Fletcher is making his way to Iceland.
Beautiful.
But Greg has been here before, more than 5 decades ago.
It's still a unique place, and I owe my life to that airplane.
And what's it like being here?
It's surreal. It's surreal.
It was Greg who crash-landed that plane, and today he'll finally reunite with what he calls the old bird.
Good grief. What a sight.
That's where I was sitting.
Nice. You know, I'm actually glad that it's here and become this magnet for tourists. It's this sort of iconic thing. Wanted to come back and set the record straight about how it got here. I think the real story is every bit as interesting, maybe more interesting than the false one.
What's the false one?
The false one is that the pilots ran out of gas or shifted to the wrong fuel tank. And that's, you know, not how it happened.
Back in 1973, Greg was just 26 and was out flying the day before Thanksgiving.
One of the worst days and one of the best days of my life. I was a very lucky man. Very, very lucky.
Greg tells us he was in training out on a routine resupply mission when the lead pilot gave him the reins and the weather suddenly turned.
We encountered basically a wall of ice. The airplane started bucking and jiving like a barroom bull ride. The ice was hitting our windscreen like somebody shooting at it with a fire hose. It choked off the airflow to the engines.
With both engines dead, the crew had a difficult decision to make, gliding in low visibility in between a glacier and the frigid North Atlantic Sea.
The question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay on that course and collide with gray rocks and ice? Or is there an option?
At the last second, Greg saw the beach.
We were able to touch down on that flat sand close to the surf, and boom, came up the west bank and came to an abrupt stop.
So this is exactly what it looked like 50 plus years ago.
Correct. That was taken the day after the accident by crews that came out here to salvage the engines and the electronics and the seats and everything else that was salvageable out of the airframe.
All 7 people on board survived. And all these years later, Greg's kept a special part of the plane with him, the yoke he used to steer the plane to safety.
Yeah, I brought the yoke back. I thought they deserved to be reunited.
Yeah.
It's a talisman. It reminds me of how lucky I was.
The story of the crash has become part of Icelandic legend, turning Greg into an accidental hometown hero.
So we do it this way, all right?
A local tour guide stunned when he found out who Greg was.
It's kind of like meeting a real-life Sully.
I think we can definitely thank Greg for saving all those lives and then decades later kind of creating a point of interest for Icelandic tourism. Yeah, he did a good job.
The Sólheimasandr site is part of a growing trend of wreck chasers, people who seek out these crashes around the world.
How popular is crash tourism?
I think there's enough people interested in it that there are websites that tell you where to go, and there are tens of thousands of airplane crashes that have never been cleared away, mostly military, but some commercial airplane crashes as well.
Christine Negroni is an aviation expert whose new book has taken her to crash sites from Seattle to Australia.
I think people are fascinated by air accidents, and they don't actually see them. They may see them on the news, but to actually experience it, walk around it, you know, it brings it home.
Culture's fascination with plane crashes is seen in movies like Sully.
We are unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
About the pilot behind the famous Miracle on the Hudson. And Society of the Snow, retelling the true story of a plane that crashed in the Andes. Even fictional TV series like Lost play into our obsession with surviving a plane crash.
9 times out of 10, if you're in a commercial airplane crash, you're going to survive. Your part as a passenger is to pay attention when the flight attendant is telling you what to do. Take your headsets off, listen, be situationally aware.
And for Christine, it's about more than the crash. It's also about the people in the cockpit and what we can learn from them.
When Greg walks around the airplane and takes a look at it and tells us his story, which is fascinating, it's really not just about Greg. It's about the pilots on board, their ability to work together, their skills, their human resiliency, and it's a real principle in why airplanes are so safe. The humans involved.
Greg stayed in the Navy for 2 more years after the crash, going on to become a lawyer, dad, and now a granddad, and says he never lost his love of flying.
People call you a hero for this landing.
I'm not a hero. I just did what I was trained to do. I was a lucky man.
Our thanks to Maggie for that. Coming up, how the front seat of a Cadillac became the stage for famous and rising artists. Plus, we visit a park hidden by an ancient Mayan city that's now protected by a small group of park rangers. Bob Woodruff goes to the unmarked corners of the world, uncovering the secrets within. It's not a stage or studio, but the open road is serving as Atlanta's hottest spot to hear more from both established and up-and-coming artists alike. It's called Cadillac Chronicles, a show with top-down style that won't leave viewers in cruise control. Our Alex Perche traveled to the ATL for his own ride in the classic car.
I used to ride around in the Cadillac just listening to old school music as leisure and just therapy and meditation. I ride around strictly with the artists in the car.
A lot of heavy hitters have sat shotgun in your Eldorado.
Today, we have 2 Chainz in the whip.
If you can't find your wallet, then you better call the bank in the
I've seen CeeLo Green.
That's how we do it around these parts. Oh.
You got the Isley Brothers.
Hey girl, ain't no mystery.
I've seen Estelle.
Take me to your car, I want to. Yeah, I really want to.
This is Brian Freeman's stage, a leather-wrapped, drop-top Cadillac Eldorado. He cruises the streets of Atlanta while renowned artists from all over the world sit shotgun and perform. He calls it Cadillac Chronicles. The idea first came from a Dave Chappelle skit with rapper Mos Def.
They all talk fast, but they all think slow. I'm most definite, not think so.
I saw that and I was like, this is cool, but they're not in the drop-top Eldorado.
Brian made his dream of lifting up important artists a reality.
Well, what we're building right now is just a very niche experience, a way to showcase amazing music, because I'm an artist first, and I want to showcase the best of the best music in all genres.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yo. Okay, now this was that work, yo.
Originally, it was the DJs that were going viral first. So Il Wink went viral. Then, shout out to DJ Millhouse. She went viral. Bomb Jalan went viral. These are all DJs.
You already know what it is, man. It's Cadillac Chronicles.
The series quickly made its mark beyond the city of Atlanta.
We had the BET Awards. How are you feeling?
This is fresh, youngin'.
Gaining popularity from the music industry and on social media.
I get to experience concerts in my car. This is the way that I want to experience my favorite music. I feel like and I believe that this is my purpose.
I gotta talk about your ride. What year is this?
This is 1974.
It's in 1974.
Right.
This predates both of us.
Absolutely.
by a good bit.
Brian's love of Cadillacs is generational. His grandmother and grandfather both had Eldorados, and he bought this one from his cousin about 5 years ago. But his ride is also a quintessential Southern hip-hop classic, like a lot of the music he promotes.
If you're a fan of hip-hop culture, especially like Southern hip-hop culture, Cadillacs, they're referenced all the time.
Iconic songs like Outkast's Two Dope Boys.
Asking where we come from, South Coast Strong.
Just 2 dope boys in a Cadillac.
Youngblood's Cadillac Pimpin', and Ludacris's Southern Hospitality.
Cadillac grills, Cadillac mills,
check out the oil my Cadillac spills.
Highlight Cadillac's important cultural significance in hip-hop.
You got artists like Too Short. Cadillac was a big thing on his covers when he first started. Pimp C from UGK always talked about Cadillac. Big Gip from Goody Mob always talked about Outkast always talked about Cadillac.
It's V103 ATL's #1 for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks.
V103's Greg Street is a legendary Atlanta DJ with AI-like recall when it comes to hip-hop and R&B.
People Station V103 presents.
When I saw the Isley Brothers on it, I was like, wow.
What was so important about the Isley Brothers stamp?
They're legends. It's like a lot of legendary artists don't even take advantage of being on platforms like that.
But just like the radio and music shows of the past, Cadillac Chronicles is a way for new artists to share their work.
Back in the day, that was Soul Train, right? Right. But it's just presenting it in a cool way.
I learned all of these different things while building my career. This is a way that I get to contribute to the culture. And that's all that really matters to me, is being able to contribute.
What a fun ride. Our thanks to Alex for that. El Mirador National Park lies in Guatemala's corner of the Mayan jungle. Under its dense canopy, this park hides an ancient Mayan city protected by a small group of park rangers. Here's a sneak peek of Bob Woodruff's journey to find El Mirador from the season premiere of the ABC News Live original Last Lands.
Ah, sí. Bueno, tenemos un jaguar. El rey de la selva. En verdadero nombre en Maya Itza es Baalan.
Jaguars here are considered gods.
Que en la cultura maya, el Baalan es el protector tanto espiritual como cósmico.
For Pulga Garcia, his work as a ranger has been a spiritual mission. His boss, Paco, has been protecting this park for nearly 2 decades.
You get jaguars everywhere.
I love jaguars. My office is a small one. I don't spend too much time here. Most of the time I'm on the field.
What do your kids think about what you're doing?
They love it. They feel proud of me because of what I do.
Paco's full name is Francisco Asturias.
Orale.
He runs this team of 6.
You've been threatened already.
All of them are threatened. All of them. They are the ones who do the real job. They're the ones that take people to jail.
They tried to get asylum to get to the United States because of the threat from the cartels.
Hunters, illegal loggers.
Anybody that's being stopped by them want to kill them.
They call themselves the Genesis team. They stand on the front lines between this park and all of the threats that surround them.
You can see that each one of them have body protection, as if they're going to war, not into a national park. There are only 3 ways to get into Guatemala's Mirador National Park: charter a helicopter, take a grueling 3-day hike, or the way these rangers do it. Spend 2 days on ATVs packed with gear and food. We're going to pack up this ATV, and then the rest of the team, we're going to follow each other up the road to finally get to the pyramids. So it's going to be long. And let's just say we're going to get a little car sick, I think. Bit brutal just getting in here, deep in the mud, skidding around, almost flipped it over a couple times. This is a lot harder to get in here, I think, than I expected. Let's put it that way. 2 of the vehicles at least have problems. One's got to be towed by the rope just to get it through the muck.
We have to push. Now we're all just completely covered with mud. So this has been quite a test. Wow. I didn't think I was gonna make it. This is what vacation's about. We made it through. The next one's coming up. I think they barely made it. So you can see what it is. Got nothing, but I can't see it. Part of my eye. Get off the road. Get through. Hey! Wow! After 12 hours, we will break for the night at a ranger outpost, 2/3 of the way there. Mirador National Park was founded in 1990.
The goal was to protect these forests and also to protect these Maya archaeological sites from deforestation and from looting.
Marcos Rezo now leads the effort to protect Mirador with Paco and his rangers.
So human pressure is increasing.
Cattle farmers, loggers, hunters are all looking to spill over into Mirador National Park, often coming into conflict with the rangers. The people seen here were arrested by Paco and his rangers earlier this year, caught clearing parts of the park.
There is no more land to grab. If they keep on grabbing land, they'll destroy the archaeological sites, they'll encroach national parks, and they'll go into Mexico, right? There's no more land to conquer.
De una la vamos a poner en la sombra. La verdad es lamentable. Te das cuenta, tenemos que improvisar. No tenemos los recursos. Ahí está. La verdad la selva está pidiendo auxilio. Pero nosotros hacemos lo que podemos. Seguimos cuidando y protegiendo la poca biodiversidad que tenemos. Está bien pegado este. Y sobre todo protegemos la selva.
If we stop doing our job, it will be very sad news. Saddest thing is we're running out of money. Everything we have been constructing in the past 19 years to take care of a national park, it will fall away.
Our thanks to Bob for that. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.